Hello and welcome to Integratus. I'm your host, Jonathan Franz, and if you are one of those curious listeners on the other end, I say thank you. This is a space where you can create a deeper connection with yourself, a space to embody a more authentic you. Along the way, I'll share the highs, the lows, the learnings and the losses of my experience in life. And in turn, I hope it helps you to open up your heart a little, to grow in extraordinary ways, and to ultimately feel inspired so you too can embrace your fears and share your gifts to the world. Welcome to Integratus. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Integratus. If you are here, I just want to say a big thank you. It's officially episode 1. So if you are one of those listeners and you have decided to go, what the heck is Jono up to? And you're just tuning in for the lols, or if you're actually tuning in because you want to be here, then yeah, thank you. I understand that there can be so many competing priorities for our time. So I don't take it lightly that you're here. Whether you come here for 1, whether you come here for 10 or 1,000, maybe let's not, 1,000 would be pretty damn epic. And maybe one day, but wherever you are here for, thank you. It's a big milestone for me. And I thought I would kick off with a pretty gnarly stat around podcasts. So if you have a podcast and you have more than 3 episodes, so if you've completed 3 episodes, you're in the top 21% of all podcasts that exist. If you have a podcast and you've done over 20 episodes, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts, which is wild. I did not know that. And to me, this is episode 1, so fingers crossed we get there, folks. Fingers crossed we get to episode 3. Fingers crossed we get past 21. But what that shows me and tells me is that so many people go and start a thing and don't see it through enough in a way where they maybe either find their voice, I'm talking about podcasts, or they start to get in a rhythm and groove, or they just lose their commitment around doing something. We've all been there before. I've started many things before and not finished them, and I don't even know what finished looks like. There is no freaking finish line. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. If you've done more than 3 episodes, you're in the top 21%. If you've done more than 20 episodes, you're in the top 1% of all podcasts. So, gnarly. And just on that, this has been something that I have wanted to do for quite some time. I've been a part of 2 different podcasts before in my life. The first one was with a lovely gentleman named Alex Morris. Shout out Alex Morris. He's gone and done epic things in the world. And we started this podcast called The Transition. I don't even know if it's actually still on Spotify, whether you can listen to it or not. But if you do, it's old school, and it's called The Transition. And what we did was we interviewed people that were going through a transition in their life. And the reality is that everybody's going through some transition in their life. Some are really big and challenging. Others are more subtle and softer. And yeah, we're always transitioning. We're actually evolving all the time. So we were interviewing people that went through big transitions. And that was awesome. I really enjoyed that podcast. And for whatever reason, I can't quite remember, but we stopped. And I think we were about 25 episodes in. We were considering doing a second season, but yeah, we never did it. And I guess we probably just went our different directions. And then a little bit after that, when I landed in, let's call it more of a healing men's mental health healing space, from the end of 2019, till 2022 last year. I was a part of another podcast called Kill Your Demons, right? Just buckle up for a sec. I'm not telling you to kill your demons, but we ran a podcast called Kill Your Demons. And that was in conjunction to this work that we were teaching men. What we were doing with men was helping them heal themselves, helping them heal the parts of themselves, giving them hope and real tangible tools that they can use to love themselves. And we had a seminar, we were running a seminar, and this seminar was called Kill Your Demons. And funny enough, we literally attracted people, men, that wanted to kill the parts of them that were inside themselves. So we attracted men that were fed up, angry, overwhelmed, anxious, had a lot of shame, felt like that they were broken at some level. We attracted the full gamut of men, from people that were homeless on the street to, we actually went to the US at one stage and started running seminars and programs there. And we were a part of another program, and they were a very successful men. They had levels of success on all metrics, but at the same time, they felt empty. They felt that they weren't enough. They were either stuck in their head or stuck in the past, or, just not happy with themselves. So we supported men like that as well. And the reality is that this seminar, this podcast called Kill Your Demons, we weren't teaching men how to kill their demons. We were teaching men how to love their demons. But if we called this seminar Love Your Demons, men would not come, right? A lot of men that haven't done a lot of work, typically, I don't want to say that haven't done a lot of work, because this is me as well. Like, we start off on the journey of being like, what the fuck is going on inside of my mind? How do I stop it, get rid of it, conquer it, break through, so it never is a part of me again? And that's what we attracted. But over time, we helped men soften and heal. And it was actually some of the most incredible, profound work that I've ever done in my life, I've ever shared in my life. We attracted incredible men of character. And I found a lot of purpose inside of the work that we were teaching. Men would really console in me and my energy, and I felt like I was really a man of service. And I left that business. It just took different turns, and the way it was going was I didn't feel aligned to the direction of it anymore. And that was really hard for me, because I got so much purpose and so much identity out of that. And I gave up a business to actually build this other business. And I was for context, if you don't know me, I was a personal trainer for 7 years of my early adult life, from about 22 I still do a bit of PT, but 22 to about 29 years old. I'm not really good at maths. What's that? 7 or 8 years? I shouldn't say I'm not very good at maths. I'm great at maths. I'm actually not great at maths. I'm just going to ditch that. I don't practice maths enough to say that I'm good at it. So there you go. What's my point? My point is that I got a lot of purpose from that business, and the direction had changed. The feeling in me had changed, and then I decided to leave. But prior to that, I ran a personal training business for 7 years, and I gave up that business. COVID hit, BC, before COVID, And I took that as a sign from the universe to shut down my business. I was like, I'm not going back to the gym. I'm never going back to the gym. Funny that. I find myself going back to the gym. So never say never, people. But yeah, I gave that up, and I really focused on this pursuit of healing and uh, like, yeah, really being of service to men that needed a light in their lives. And this was this work. So, cut a long story short. I mean, there's a longer story to that. But the podcast was called Kill Your Demons. That was the second podcast that I've been a part of. Then I went on a huge hiatus, and I stepped out of the arena completely because I needed to heal myself. I'd gone through many challenging experiences that I will talk about over the course of this podcast. But I've decided to step back into the arena, and I'm like, how the freak does Jono Franz do this his way? Because I see what goes on in social media. I have zero interest in observing or looking at other people's lives. I know that sounds crazy because you're on a podcast and you're listening, but there's something about the social media framework, especially Instagram and TikTok, and I'm not opposed about these things. I think they're great. We can learn from them. We can share from them. They're the tools and it's the medium that we currently have in our life. But what I found, I'll speak for myself, what I found myself doing with these platforms was comparing myself and looking at other people and what are they doing, and what is that coach saying, and oh, look at how they did that video, and I'm not as good as that, and how am I ever supposed to be that? They've done all these things, and it was just constant comparing. And I said to myself, I'm not going to look at people's lives. I just felt like it was really deterring me from my own internal compass. And you might feel something similar, or might have felt something similar in the past. So I decided to stop, and I shut down all other voices, and I took some time to heal. And over the last couple of years, there's been huge amounts of loss. There's been family loss. There's been financial loss. There's been business loss. There's been friendship loss. There's been a lot of dark, hard times. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm ready to share again, which is scary and also somewhat liberating. So my vision for this podcast is exactly what I said on that intro. I want for this to be a place where you can start to embrace these fears of yourself, these parts and that you may be working with, or you may have noticed over the period of your life so far, and you can start to bring more love into your life, because this is literally the journey that I am on. And I'm like, screw it, I want to share it as well. I want to talk about what's happened in my life, and find my voice and distill a message. So Integratus, what's the whole Integratus piece about? Why is the podcast called Integratus? Well, Integratus is a Latin word which means to integrate. And if you look at the specific term Integratus, it actually means the process or the act to make whole again. And when I looked at that, when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is the journey that I'm literally on. I am here to make myself whole again. And I know that might sound like funny and a little bit esoteric and woo woo, but we've got all these parts. I've got all these parts inside of me, and I've worn certain types of masks in my life, and I've also learnt how to behave from wearing those masks. And the journey that I seem to be on, the journey that I feel like we're all on, is one to integrate ourselves, is one to come to Integratus, to have this process of making whole again. And if that still isn't making sense to you, which I'm sure it should be by now, I really hope that you also get to evolve through this podcast, and you get to have insight where you can look at all these different parts of yourself, and you get to come into integration. You get to be a better man or woman of character, and you move through the world differently, and you choose to evolve. You actually choose to evolve and grow and heal and emanate way more love on this planet, because we all need it. You especially, and me especially. That's not a call out. And that's what Integratus is. Before I finish up, I want to read a little phrase or a couple of paragraphs from a mentor, a teacher, an incredible man. His name is Richard Rudd, and he's created this incredible philosophy called Gene Keys. It's a deep discovery into oneself and using different archetypes. And he's created this system that helps you get clearer on a listening inside of your gut, a deeper knowing, or like, why the freaking hell am I here, right? Like, what's the reason I'm here on this planet? So I want to finish up by quoting him. You are about to begin a beautiful journey into the higher purpose of your life. Everyone would like to know why they've come here. This question is as old as the hills, but as you will discover, the purpose of your life is not so much about what you are here to do, as how you are here to do it. What you are here to do is secondary importance. Our primary purpose is to live well, to live with passion, to learn from our mistakes, and to continually expand beyond the parameters set by our minds or the minds of others. A life in which we make mistakes and take full responsibility for those mistakes without recourse to blame is in some ways even more admirable than a life of impeccable morality. Our very human nature is to grow. So the purpose of life is not a fixed mark. It is an ever-changing alignment to the core of your humanity, to your ability to forgive yourself and others, and to keep the fires of your enthusiasm burning brightly. And that means a lot to me, because so much of my life, and still, like, to this day, it's, what am I going to do? What's my purpose? What am I meant to be doing on this planet? Like, how do I fulfill my deepest desires? How do I grow and survive and make money and serve and do all these things? And since entering the Gene Keys, and since entering this philosophy from Richard, I've started to soften. I'm like, okay, well, what if it's how I do things? What if it's like the quality and the essence of how I do things in life? That's what really counts, because all we actually have is this present moment. That's the only moment that we have. That's the only one that exists. If you can refine this quality, this essence of the way you move through the world, the way you choose to show up, the way you choose to listen, how you respond rather than react, like the quality of your features. And I don't mean how you look, but like the light that comes from within. Those people that just make everyone's day a lot better? Their day just seems like they just brighten up your day. And you're like, why are you so freaking happy? Like, be angry, or just don't be so happy all the time. And they just are. And often some of those, the happiest people, like we've heard it all before, are the ones that have nothing. So explain that. So think about purpose as not as something that you need to conquer and claim and find out. There's so many coaches out there that are literally drilling this, gotta find your purpose, gotta find your purpose, gotta find your purpose. I'm like, dude, it's really fucking hard to discover this. It's a discovery. But rather than focusing on the purpose itself, what you do, focus on who you are and how you decide to move through the world, how you choose to treat others, therefore treat yourself. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the very first podcast episode of Integratus. I hope you've had a great time. If you've tuned in this entire way, blessings to you. And yeah, if you've taken one thing, take that it's not what you do in life. It's how you decide to move through it. How you decide to treat yourself and treat others. That to me is what life's about. Tune in for next week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And yeah, if you like it, review it, or even better, if you want to email me or share a win or a learning or just share anything. I love being a part of people's lives in that way, and coaching is a big part of what I do in the world. And yeah, sharing me or sharing your wisdom, sharing your experience of life with me is something that I love greatly. So you can email me at jonofranz@gmail.com. JONOFRANZE, jonofranz@gmail.com. Lots of love, peeps. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.